This is Board Games Insider. More Bonacore, less Vassal. The way it should be.
This is Board Games Insider, where Ignacy Cevicek, president of Portal Games, and Stephen Bonacore, the podfather of gaming, discuss hobby board game publishing from the inside, giving you news, advice, and a look behind the curtain into the hobby board game industry. Ladies and gentlemen, here are Ignacy and Stephen.
Hello, Ignacy Cevicek, Portal Games.
And this is the podfather of gaming, Stephen Bonacore. This is Board Games Insider, episode 189, and we're recording it on March 31st, 2021. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and Tom Vassal likes cats. After a stray cat took up residence outside the Dice Tower headquarters, the Dice Tower staff continued to feed the cute little furball for months. Tom's ice-cold small heart melted and grew 3 times its size, and he admits now that he loves the cat, making Ignacy the only known Dice Tower contributor to hate cats. What is up with that, Ignacy?
I'm close to change this statement. This stupid cat has so much love to me that I cannot hate him anymore, so I may be changing as well.
That's great. That is great. I see the pictures you post with him. I know you don't hate him, but cats can be a challenge.
Yeah.
I love my little Percy, but he is annoying. Anyway, how is Portal Games doing?
Oh, we are doing awesome.
Good.
We are very tired. We are not even in the middle of crowdfunding for Robinson Crusoe, but it feels like it's ages. It's so much work, and it's of course rewarding. It's amazing. It's exciting, but day and night, the whole team working on the campaign. But yes, the news of the week for us: we started Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition on GameFound. Once again, to remind everyone, it's a crowdfunding campaign, but not on the Kickstarter. It's on a GameFound. It's a competitor for the Kickstarter. I think competitor is too strong word. It's another platform. It's not competitor yet. They try to be competitor. And my brag of the week is the 2 days ago we passed $1 million US dollars on the campaign, which is quite a nice number, and it has some gravity. So it was a nice moment in the whole office, and now we are still growing, and sky is the limit, as they say, right? So we don't know what will happen, but at this point we are very, very happy and proud. And for all listeners who are listening to the podcast for years and maybe were debating getting this Robinson Crusoe, this is the moment. This edition is absolutely amazing. The amount of content, additional pieces, additional cards, additional cardboard pieces, additional miniatures, the things that you will find in this box are ridiculous. So this is absolutely amazing offer, and yes, this $1 million proves that there is a ton of people interested in this edition, and what's most important for many of you, this version of the game has open and play campaign. It's a tutorial campaign. You can learn how to play. So either you are as smart as Steven and you can learn how to play from the rulebook, or I don't know how he pulled it off, or you will have this new edition with open and play campaign. It's 4 scenarios that it will teach you. And to be honest, because I got so many congratulations on this open and play concept, I got Rodney Smith reaching me, Rolling Dice Tankiness, everybody was reaching me on a brief, and I was always responding the same way. Thank you, but it is Isaac Childress who invented that for Jaws of the Lion, Gloomhaven tutorial, and I just stole his idea because he's smarter than me. So thank you, Isaac, for coming. Because yes, Isaac had to make a Gloomhaven target friendly to mass market. Yes, and it was a great challenge for him, design challenge. He pulled it off. Jaws of the Lion is an amazing game. And then I said, I can steal this idea. And we have a tutorial campaign for all of you to teach you how to play Robinson Crusoe. So this was happening. We have daily unlocks. I don't know if Indie Cousin Boss were the first company that started daily unlocks, but it was one of the first companies that started doing that. I remember Egizia campaign doing that.
Yeah.
It's it's great because for the publisher, like we prepare these surprises for you, and we are sure that we will unlock them. We are sure that you will have this stuff. So this is a little bit a different approach than the regular stretch goals that are dependent on the funding goal. But it is for us so much easier to surprise you every single day with something cool added to the campaign. So I'm not sure if this model will be popular in the future, but I see more and more publishers going this road. And me personally, if I can give a feedback to other creators, it helps you a lot to run this campaign in this good pace, good speed, and have something new, interesting for the backers every single day. So this is a great model.
Yeah, I'm sure that Indie Game Studios was not the first to do it. I mean, I don't actually know, but I don't think that they were. But what I do know is that it's much better. It's much easier to run it that way. You get something every day that is shown off and highlighted that is cool and new. And that's, to me, the best way of doing these things. And sure, getting a stretch goal where you get something that, the whole campaign will get. But guess what? Now it's going to show you something every day that you're going to get. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I remember when we were doing Stronghold Undead Kickstarter in the regular way, so stretch goals, and this campaign went much better than we predicted. And suddenly, these stretch goals were unlocked, and we were like, "What the hell is happening? This is successful." And the panic, the brainstorming, what we should do right now, etc., etc. So now, when we had this plan already, and now we just do it, making all our backers very, very happy. This is a great model. So everybody, check it out. This campaign will last for 20 days. It ends on April 12th. And every single day we add something new, miniature or new set of the cards or new mini expansion, etc., etc. So it's a 20 new additions to the base game. And the base game in this edition has 18 miniatures, a big camp, open play campaign, so Robinson Crusoe, a $1 million campaign. Very proud of that. And if you like these small stories from Ignacy, if you like these fun anecdotes, I recorded a video, top 10 things you didn't know about Robinson Crusoe. You can find it on my YouTube channel. And I was mentioning all the small details about the game that were never published before. So this is what's happening. I'm very tired, a very successful Kickstarter creator.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So over at the Podfather of Gaming, we are relaxing. That's all we're doing. And Kevin...
That's a great plan.
Have a
so
great
you're
plan.
balancing out. Like, I'm working my ass and you're relaxing. Like, the balance is kept.
We went in the pool yesterday. It was really lovely.
Can I mute you here in this?
You can mute me on your side, but I'm recording here. But I'll again give a shout out to my buddy Kevin Burkhardsmeyer, but nobody calls him Burkhardsmeyer because you can't pronounce his last name. It's harder to pronounce than Chevychek or Bonacor. Kevin is known as Berkey, and he owns GameToppersLLC.com. He makes some of the greatest board game table toppers, not tables. So you don't need a new table in your house. You just put this on top of your table. And Kevin sent me, because I did him a small favor, he just sent me a nice map of Rome to put inside my table that I have an actual game table. But you can use this just to put on top of any table. And of course, check out his game toppers, because they are really cool for any gamer who doesn't want to go out and spend thousands of dollars on a new table, but just can buy this topper and put it there. And then when they want to use it as a regular table, they take it off and put it in the corner. GameToppersLLC.com. What are you doing, Ignacy? You're raising your hand.
Exactly, because I have a fact. I don't know if you know this fact, and our listeners, for sure, they need to know that. Berk is also having a company that does the spices for the food. And they're amazing.
He does spices for food.
Yeah.
He does beef jerky. I think he stopped doing the beef jerky. I don't know if he still does it, but he gave me beef jerky a couple of years ago, and it was awesome.
And each Gen Con, he gives me like a pack of the spice, and it's amazing. We have it here. We do it for our meat and our food. And each year if I go to America, I get a package of spice. So if you can not afford the table topper, you can afford spice. They're very good.
He's a renaissance man of businesses. Yeah. And he's just a great guy. He's just a very pleasant, personable guy. So, Berkey, big shout out to you and everybody else out there. Go to toppersllc.com. He's going to be running another Kickstarter. He just finished one, I think early this year, but he's preparing for another one, so you can see when that comes up with some new products there. I continue my gaming with my Pathfinder. It's now we're now like in 10 months of this. It's I think maybe 10th month. My level 8 half orc fighter and it's a Pathfinder campaign, and I am really loving my rediscovered love for role playing. So this has been great, and as we reported recently, that there's a new version of the Lord of the Rings role-playing game. Ignacy found that, and I immediately went and all in back to that thing on Kickstarter. So who knows? Maybe if I get very, very motivated, I will create a Lord of the Rings-based, Middle-earth-based campaign. We'll see, but that won't be this year, I guarantee it. Moving into the future, Bonacore got his first dose of the vaccine. I mentioned that at the end of the last episode if you stayed and listened. And in 3 weeks from now, I'll have my second, and the world opens up. So the one thing I'm going to promise everybody out there that may be going to any of the big cons, like Gen Con, Origins, the Dice Tower retreats, I'm going to be there. I'll see you guys there. It's very exciting to me to be able to get back into the game, no pun intended, just being back out there and being able to do things with friends and fans, and it's going to be very exciting. So hopefully I'll see you at one of those things.
I wonder which section of Euronews about Steven is pissing me more. Like each time you say something about what's happening at the Bonacore is like, I cannot believe.
One of us has to be positive, and I have to stay positive because my brain will explode.
I would be positive if I'm vaccinated in my pool playing Pathfinder. I would be positive.
All right, well, you guys, you got to go beat up your Polish authorities there to figure out why they can't move things forward faster.
That's so true.
I hope that you can, my friend, because I want to see you too at some point in the future. Meanwhile, I think it's time we should go to the event deck.
The event deck. Here's the latest news from the board game industry.
All right, so we don't have a lot of news this week after having so much news over the last few weeks. But our first piece of news is out of GAMA, out of the GAMA trade show, now known as the GAMA Expo, which we reported on last week. It was a virtual event this year and done in a very interesting way with this new thing called spatial chat, where everybody was a little avatar and you can walk to different rooms. It worked out as well as one could expect that kind of show to work out. But every year at the GAMA Expo, they have the GAMA Retailer Awards. They give a Retailer of the Year award. And I think it just goes to one retailer. Maybe it goes to a couple, but I think it just goes to one retailer every year. And I don't exactly know how you can become that. But obviously, you've got to do some really great things, for your community, right? Retailers, the local stores. We're not talking about the Barnes & Nobles or the Amazons. We're talking about the local stores doing great things, and they can become the Retailer of the Year. And this year, the winner is every retailer who is a GAMA member, which is kind of nice. So what they said this year was that since it was such a horrible year, especially for the small retailer, GAMA is giving this award to all retailers who are members of GAMA, retail members of GAMA. They can post in their store that we are a Retailer of the Year last year and show that the community is back and doing great things with them. So I applaud this. I think this was a great idea. Instead of just, picking one who was able to survive better, make everybody this year a special Retailer of the Year. Ignacy, are you going to say something bad about GAMA again?
On one hand, I hear you, and I see the fact that if retailer can post like that he is a Retailer of the Year, this is good for him. It gives a little bit of respect for everybody who survived this hard year. On the other hand, because everybody who listens to the podcast for a couple of years now knows that I'm obsessed with education and teaching and providing some knowledge and helping others, I would love to hear stories from the most successful retailers who survived this lockdown time. And we learn, all of us learn what they did, how they modified the business, how they came up with these ideas, how to reach customers during the lockdown. And I would hear about these best ideas from the industry, so everybody else can learn. So I would go in a different road, but it's not news that I will have different ideas than Gamma. So, but yes, I would definitely pick the ones that made amazing, astonishing job in these difficult times, and pass this message to everybody else to show, hey, we can survive. This is how you do it. This is how they achieve that. That would be my pick.
There you go. So unless you've been, lying under a rock for the last, 3 months, you would have known that this company, GameStop, which is a retailer, right, in North America that sells mostly electronic games and game consoles and things like that, and their stock price went crazy. They went from a $4 stock at one point over the last year to a $400 plus stock. So GameStop has come out with its fiscal year earnings, and I just wanted to have a quick chat about it. I know this is not really part of the industry, but it's gaming on some level. So GameStop ends fiscal year with a $215 million loss, which is a big improvement over the year before when they lost $471 million. The company reported in its fiscal fourth quarter year-end results. Sales were down 21% from $6.5 billion in the year ending February 1st, 2020 to $5.1 billion in the fiscal year just ended. The big sales decline came as the chain reduced its store count by almost 700 stores in what it likes to call store de-densification efforts. That means closing stores like crazy. And experienced what it called, quote, a significant reduction in store operating days as a result of temporary store closures in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So I did not listen to their call because I didn't want to hear the nonsense. This is a publicly traded company, a very large company, as you can see by those numbers, numbers in the billions of dollars. And on their call, which all public companies do, they did not take any questions. That's not common. And they gave no guidance. Guidance means that a company says, we believe that our revenue and profits for the next quarter and the next year will be so-and-so. Gave none. I'm reporting on this to say that I am not your financial advisor, and do not take any advice from me whatsoever on stock picking. But this company is doomed. And the funniest thing of all is they just hired some big shot people to try to get themselves out of things. But I'm telling you, everybody out there, this is a $4 per share company, maybe $14 a share company. This is not a $200 or $400 share company. And if you're buying into this hype because some guy named Roaring Kitty on the internet said this is a great stock, he's an idiot, and you are, well, whatever. So don't buy into the hype on this.
I'm calling our lawyer.
Feel free to call the lawyer. And I said Roaring Kitty is an idiot that he thinks this is a good stock. See, I will say negative things occasionally because, some of this stuff is just crazy, and I gotta call it out.
Wait, when I say negative things, we don't end up in a jail, dude. There's a difference. I'm just whining regularly, and you're putting us in trouble.
I'm going to put us in trouble if I say this guy's an idiot? No, I'm going to tell you that he's an idiot.
Stop doing that.
He is no more allowed to give financial advice than I am. So there you go. If he wants to start his chain of followers talking about his financial advice, I will say he's wrong. Moving right along. So this one was a great one. I saw this one the other day too. Magic the Gathering art was stolen. Kind of air quotes on stolen here. So there's a noted artist. We should mention his name, and I can't see it here in the article. It's Jason. Ignacy, do you have the name of the gentleman who?
I don't know. I don't have it open here. I just want to mention before you start
Go
the
ahead.
story that sometimes in our reporting, because we are a business insider, we are the board games insider, but sometimes we need like spicy headlines in our news. So we have a new followers, a new audience. So this one is a very sexy headline: Magic the Gathering steals artwork.
That's
And
right.
now we are reporting.
Apologies for not knowing the gentleman's name at this moment. But he is accused of plagiarizing, and he's a noted artist in the Magic the Gathering world. And someone else noticed that the artwork on the card Crux of Fate was exactly like a piece of art that was posted years before on DeviantArt.com. Now, DeviantArt is a known, I call it fan artwork, I guess you can say. Any artist of any note can post there on their own thing, and you can offer it for sale. You can just have it a beautiful, it can show your portfolios, whatever you want to do. It's a great place to show off your artwork. This gentleman's art, Crux of Fate, was exactly the same, and the person who had this other art on DeviantArt actually took transposed the two images on top of each other, and they matched up like pixel for pixel almost. It was like, so it's not looking good. So Wizards of the Coast had to come out and say we are severing ties with the artist who gave us this art until we figure out what's going on with this entire situation. So the bottom line here is don't steal things when you're a famous person. It's really dumb to do that because you are going to get caught on the internet, especially if you're doing work for the largest game in hobby gaming, Magic the Gathering. You got to be crazy to do that. And the noted artist in question here is a great artist. So why he had to do that is very, very, very odd. Maybe he had a deadline. Whatever the reason is, not a good idea. So what else do we have, Ignacy? We have something regarding Asmodee supporting local game stores. And I am trying to bring this article up, and for whatever reason, the news is not coming up.
So they are doing a contest or lottery, how you call it, to encourage players in the UK to go to local game stores and buy games at the local game stores. And everyone who will buy the game in this window, there is a period when this action is taking place. If you are buying at a local game store during this time, you will be part of the lottery, and you can win, as far as I remember, £1,000. Quite a good number. As our, so they are just saying go to local game stores, buy games, support them, and one of you will get a prize. So this is like a super simple but very nice way to motivate players to go back to the stores.
Oh, so they're actually giving cash prizes out to get people. That's very nice of them to do that. Oh, kudos to Asmodee. I mean, they are of the size that they can do such things, and that's great. Obviously, not something that every publisher can do, but it certainly helps them to get people back into stores and to have strong local game stores. So this is a great thing. How do people enter? Do you have any information on that? I'm looking at the thing. I don't see it.
You must go to a local game store. You must buy at the local game store. How you will prove that you did it, I don't know. I'm not living in UK, so I was not digging it too much, but I know that the rules, the press release was mentioning go to local game store, buy your stuff, and you will take part in the lottery.
So this is a UK-based only. Very
Correct.
good. Well, I think that is really, really excellent. What else do we have here? We have Warcraft and StarCraft co-creator Chris Metzen is building a new world using the rules of D&D. Oh, well, this turns me on. I like this idea. And it's coming to Kickstarter.
Yes, we reported a couple of months ago about this new company, World Chief. I don't know if you remember that they started the company.
Yep.
All the Blizzard employees and everybody was excited what will come from it, if this is a new tabletop game, if this is a new miniature game. Now they revealed it will be not a tabletop game, not board game, it will not be a miniature game, it will be a new world for Dungeons and Dragons, and they are going to the Kickstarter. So your expertise, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, so this is going to be basically a new world, so it'll be compatible with the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons, and that world's going to be called, if I can pronounce this, Ouroboros.
Yes, you did it amazing. Yes.
Ouroboros, Coils of the Serpent, and it's from warchiefgaming.com.
Warchief.
And it'll be coming to Kickstarter. It's exciting to me. I think any new fantasy world that's compatible with a system that I love. I've never played D&D 5th edition, but of course I'm in Pathfinder, which is a Pathfinder 1st edition, which is a D&D 3.5 plus edition, so to speak. And this is very exciting. I can't wait to see what they do. I'm going to go over to their website. In fact, I'm going to click on the link to warchiefgaming.com and leave it there so that I get back to it later and follow it.
Yes, for me it's interesting piece of news, and I didn't realize that. So maybe you knew that. I didn't know. As you can see, they are using the word Dungeons and Dragons in this press release quite a lot. So I was wondering how any independent company can use the word Dungeons and Dragons in their press release, and what the hell is going on. So I dig, and there is links, and it says that Wizards of the Coast offers something called the System Reference Document, or the SRD, and it is available under Open Gaming License. So technically, even Ignace and Steven could announce that we are doing a crazy world from Dungeons and Dragons, which is a surprise for me, and I'm wondering why not more of the people is doing such announcements.
I am not 100% sure how it works. They certainly, like for instance, Pathfinder is a direct takeoff on Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, they use many of the rules in their system, and then they change the ones that they want. I do not know the legalities of doing so, but yes, D&D, Wizards of the Coast, enables people to do this. I am unsure about licensing or anything like that, though of course you do have to say in your documents that, when you mention it, that Dungeons and Dragons is copyright Wizards of the Coast and things like that. You have to mention, once you talk about it, you have to also mention that these terms and these things are copyright Wizards of the Coast. I do not have the legal background knowledge to know about how they do this. All right, and next in the news, what do we have?
No, next in the news, we go to questions from the fans right now.
Oh, you're the meanest guy in the world.
And once again, they are doing it on. You're blaming me. This is not fair.
It is fair because I have all day. I can hang out here.
No, sure. Oh, yes, again.
I can hang out here all day. All right. It's not fair to Ignacy. Let's go to strategy and tactics.
Strategy and tactics. Some advice for you from Board Games Insider.
All right, Zach, who is at ZB1035, he asks, the consensus seems to be it's a great time to be a player and a difficult time to be a publisher in the industry. Maybe. Players have more choices than ever. Publishers have more competition than ever. So do you think there's any responsibility players, consumers have in the industry in changing this trend at all? Do you think we should buy or demand fewer games? Or just keep buying everything and let capitalism do its thing? I know this is a weird question, but I love this hobby and I don't want publishers to put out a great game they are proud of only to have it immediately forgotten. I'm just kind of curious about how all this competition will affect the industry in the next few years. Zach, this is a weird question, but it is a really, really good, interesting question. Ignacy, do you want to cover this at all? We've always talked about how many games are coming out, but now Zach is actually putting it from the player's perspective, the consumer's perspective. What do you think?
Yeah, it's very interesting, and for years in this podcast I was changing a little bit of my statement at the very beginning, a few years ago. I was whining then if the designer designs a game for a year or a year and a half, and then this game will be on the shelf for 6 weeks. This is a dramatic, and this is so sad for the designers. Now I get used to that the market is very fast, and yes, you need to spend a lot of months to design the game, and then you have this few weeks window to sell the game and hope that this game will become a bestseller. On behalf of designers, not even the publisher, designers, if you love the game, if you enjoy the game, if you appreciate the time the designers spend on this design, please share the news about the game. Just post a picture you playing the game on a social media. It will mean a lot for the designers, and it is all you can do, and is all we can ask for. So I don't think that the customers and players has any responsibilities. But if you appreciate the work, if you respect the work of designers, it is nice for you. Of you, it's kind of you. If you put some pictures in social media, it will help a lot.
That's perfectly a perfect way of putting it. That no, the gamers certainly have no responsibility to change trends in an industry, to change what publishers are doing. Um, Let the market and capitalism make those changes, and people things will get shaken out. But if you love a given publisher, love a given game, please post about that game to the extent that you can and show the games off. If it's that great of a game, hopefully just the general trends will take it on and on and on forever. But you can help by showing it off and talking about it on social media. Lance Coffey, who's L Coffey on Board Game Geek, ideally you want to publish evergreens. Yes, we do. Sometimes you accidentally publish something that doesn't do as well as planned, expected, or hoped. I understand that in numbers, a company might actually have more quantity of games that lose money than that make money. How many and what categories do publishers have for grouping the results of your sales? I'm not sure what he means. How many? What categories do we? Oh, so do we have categories like evergreen and below that? Interesting. Let me read the rest of his question. What percent of games end up losing money? What percent of games fall within each sales category? Nasi, do you have a business meeting with your guys that figures out where things are, and do you name the game categories?
We do. I would not call it like per se game categories, but when we look at our back catalog after each year, of course we have our evergreens, and in this situation, mostly these are the games that we designed. So Robinson Crusoe, Detective, Imperial Settlers, and a couple of games under the license like Blood Rage, for example, or Root, that became massive sellers for us for Polish market. And then we look at the games that we released in the past months, and we see which of these titles has this legs, this potential to become maybe evergreen, and we want to reprint it, we want to do it once again, or which of them we sold, we are happy that we sold the whole print run, but we are not going to do reprint. And then you have this third category of the games that are still in the stock, and my sales team asked me, boss, what we need to do with that. Are we doing a sale, or we are doing a clearance, or we are doing some additional marketing or discounts, etc., etc. So yeah, so we have these evergreens that we are reprinting over and over again. Then we have these new items that joined our catalog in the previous year, and then we decide which of these will go to the bucket of reprint because they're massive seller, or just sell everything we did and forget about this title. And then you have these hot potatoes, or whatever you call them, that you want to forget.
Yeah, that's kind of how you have to group it. Basically, these are the things that we'll be able to print constantly, and constantly could be several times a year with super evergreens, or they could be like once a year to restock. That's kind of how we do it with Survive. How we did it with Survive once. Go ahead.
And Lance has another additional interesting point that, of course, we want, when we publish the games, we believe in each of these games. Like, I never signed a game that I don't believe in. That would be stupid, right? So we believe, as a publisher, we believe in every title that we are signing.
Every game.
And then statistically speaking, he's right that sometimes by accident, sometimes by different circumstances, out of these 12 of 18 games you are doing for a year, 2 or 3 will not do well, because of various reasons. It may be the fact that the street date of this particular title met the other big seller from other publisher. It may be the fact that the manufacturer did some mistake and you have to do replacement and the game got the bad press. It may be various different reasons, not entirely connected with the design itself. It still may be a good game, but had an unlucky street date, had unlucky production problem, etc., etc., and then this game will never be reprinted. And that's, of course, sad. And statistically, it happens every time.
Yep, exactly. All right, Kevin Barent. Hey, Kevin. I know Kevin. He's at Barinsky. He says, hello, Stephen and Ignacy. My question is, how much time do you get to actually sit down and play board games just for fun and enjoyment versus testing prototypes for potential publishing and or playtesting? Well, for me, it's 100% now, but that doesn't count, right? Back in the day, it really was 50-50 at best, and probably closer to 25% playing for fun, 75% that things that we had to do to play test to evaluate. Ignacy, how about you?
For me, I'm lucky these times that I have a team that checks the samples of the games that we have submitted to our company from our partners. So it is a rather rare situation when I need to play the game. In most cases, I get information from my team that Ignacy, this is the new game by Vladimir Suchy. It's freaking amazing. We played it. We need to publish it. It's great, and I trust them. We do it. Sometimes I play if I have a time, but I don't have to. Sometimes they have a sample that they have some concerns, and they want, hey, you need to play it. You need to make the final call. So it is not the case that I play every game that Portal Games is publishing. I have my team. But the other thing is that I play a ton of games for fun as a personal playing thing, but I do it for learning about the new mechanisms, new solutions, new ideas. So I play many games. It's a little bit for fun, and it's a little bit of for work to educate myself with the new ideas in the industry.
Good. Catherine, who's at Meeple One's Choice. Hi, Stephen and Ignacy. As the hobby steadily grows older, do you think there will be additional editions of games similar to, quote, large print books with maybe less fancy but less fiddly components, as well as with larger / more clear icons or even bigger cards? Is there business in this for a publisher to have two versions of the same game to lower the barriers for gamers with issues with their vision or dexterity? That's a very interesting question. So, Catherine, the short answer, I think, to that is we're not going to see the bulk of games issued in two different editions. No, that just can't really happen in this industry. I don't even know that it happens for most of the mass market games. So it certainly can't happen with hobby games. But what I think you could see, certainly, is that the biggest of the biggest, the ultra evergreens, some of those, but some of those that get really out into the masses, like the Ticket to Rides and the Catan, some of those could go to to editions that are for the visually impaired or the dexterity impaired. Ignacy, any other comment on that?
Yeah, of course. Around Portal Games, there is a ton of viral jokes about the large font and small font on my cars, and that my cars have so many rules, that there is so much text on the cars that nobody can see them. So now geeks are making fun, of course, and jokes. At this point, I think that the independent publishers, like myself, don't have a chance to release a special edition of the game. We've changed the components, bigger font or something like that. But I agree with Stephen that we will see in the future the big companies looking for the new customers, looking for the new markets, and looking for the new audiences. So I can easily see, as Stephen mentioned, a Ticket to Ride with the big cars, big trains, big board, so everybody can play comfortably. So yeah, nothing for us, small publishers, but big market, they need audience.
There you have it. Let's get over to playtesting.
Playtesting, where Ignacy and Stephen ask you questions.
All right, here is my question this week. Ignacy and I go back and forth, or we try to every week. And this week's question is, besides, of course, Portal Games and Stronghold Games, which publisher, if any, do you follow most closely to see what their latest releases are or what they're saying about the industry and about gaming? Note, if it's Asmodee, please pick one or two of the studios under that very, very large umbrella that keeps growing and growing. So, Ignacy, is there a publisher besides yourself and, Indie Game Studios, Stronghold, that you follow most closely to see what's happening with?
And that is a very good question, because I was making quite a point a few years ago about following publishers. And if really many fans follow publishers, or they just buy the game at the game store and they don't give a who created that, and if they have a website or whatever they're saying in their newsletter, we want product, we want fun, and we don't care for more. I myself, follow very closely GMT, the company that does war games. I love their newsletters. They're very long, very detailed. I don't understand much of it because they're about these war games. And I treat it as a 1 month treat of reading something super amazing, well prepared. I check what they do on the P500 program. They have like a small Kickstarter on their website. So I follow this company very close and I enjoy it and it makes me happy when I see the news. But for all other publishers, I don't. And it is for me surprising that on one hand, my marketing team, I ask them, hey, update the website. Hey, send out newsletter. Hey, put more information about the website. And myself, I never check the website for Rio Grande. I never check the website of other publishers. Like I don't care. I just buy a game and that's it. So why I ask my team to update the website, I don't know. So this is a great question. Do you guys really follow these publishers, or they should close these websites?
There you go. So for me, it traditionally, I mean, for the longest time, including before there was a Stronghold Games, Fantasy Flight Games was my go-to company to look at. And what are they doing? They're just doing such cool things, and the miniatures and the themes, the IPs that they were getting.
And you were browsing the website and checking the things, like really?
I would just always see what they were doing. I mean, whether it was going to their website or just always, oh, what are they doing? What are they doing recently? Checking the news, checking the feeds. Oh, if I saw something that they were doing, I would be like, oh, I want to check that one out closely. Now, I might buy the game, might not buy the game. I usually would buy the game. I got so many of their games. But yeah, I would go to their website. And as I'm thinking about it more, I haven't been in a while. Now we just know what's happening because we see it on ICV2. We see it here. We talk about it. The Dice Tower talks about it on Board Game Breakfast. So it was always them. It's kind of less so them now because they've changed their focus so much. They've been divesting things and giving them to other studios recently. So I don't really look at them as much. I do look at Ares games a lot still because everything they do is so beautifully produced. And of course they do, the War of the Ring and and Battle of the Five Armies and everything around that. So they can't do enough of that. If they put out 5 more, War of the Ring style games, I'm going to buy them. So I'm loving that kind of that thing, of course. So they're sort of my what did they just announce? I want to be on top of that. So that's our answers to this question. Everybody right now, Ignacy is going to create a thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. I'm watching him do it. And we are asking you, besides Portal Games and Struggle Games, of course, which publisher, if any, do you follow most closely to see what releases they're doing? Let us know what you think. And in the meantime, let's go to final scoring.
Final scoring. How to stay in touch with and up to date on Ignacy and Steven.
Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page /Portal Publishing and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are portalgames.pl, portalgamesus.com, and podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter, it's @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. Same on Instagram, and on YouTube, the channel names are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. We hope to see you soon when the conventions are opening up again. And Board Games Insider was professionally edited for you by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. If you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. So, Ignacy, you really teased us last week. You said that you might have some special news about a merger or acquisition. Tell me, is Portal Games officially now ASMO ready?
It is me doing the thing, not me being eaten by something. So yes, I will be,
Oh.
something is in the air, something will happen. We hope to have the news in April. It will be, of course, not that big as Asmodee news, but it will be some small news piece for Polish market. So it's coming.
Are you buying the Podfather of gaming? Are you putting me, in my personality, as part of Portal Games? Is that it?
The Kickstarter for Robinson Crusoe was very successful, but not that successful. I think that we still have a couple of days left. So help me buy Podfather, support Robinson Crusoe.
Excellent. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for listening in, and we will see you in a week. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Board Games Insider with Ignacy Cevicek and Stephen Bonacore. Board Games Insider has been made possible by you, our listeners and hobby board game enthusiasts. Ignacy and Stephen thank you greatly for your support of the hobby board game industry. Follow both Portal Games and the Podfather of Gaming on Twitter. Sign up for their newsletters on their websites, portalgamesus.com and podfathergaming.com, and like both them and Board Games Insider on Facebook. Please join us next time on Board Games Insider.
You're listening to the Dice Tower Network, the home of smart people, insightful board gaming commentary, and Stephen Bonacore. Find out more at dicetowernetwork.com.